Hey there, welcome to another Let's Coach session here at Life Coach University. I'm Norma Frahn. I'm an emotional eating coach, certified life coach, and integrative nutrition health coach. I'm here to what I work to that, and I can't speak today. I help women make peace with food and stop dieting and reconnect to their bodies so that they can free themselves from the grip of emotional eating. And I love to come here every Friday and do these Let's Coach sessions, kind of around that whole kind of concept of helping you change your relationship with food, your body, and yourself. So before we dive in today, let me quickly do a little bit of housekeeping and tell you how we're going to, how we work these Let's Coach sessions, at least the ones that I'm conducting. And you have a couple of different ways to get some coaching here. You can raise your virtual hand right at the bottom of your Zoom screen. You'll see a little raise hand button. Just click on that and I'll keep my eyes on it. That's why I keep looking over to the side here. And if I see that light up, I will bring you on and we will talk live. We also have the Q&A box. Same thing at the bottom of your screen. There's a little button that says Q&A. Just click that. A window will open and you just type in your question or your comment and I'll respond to them as we go through the session here today. And then the third and final way is you can just listen. You can just join on in with your ears and just listen to everything that I'm saying and pay attention to the questions and the comments, because I promise you, even if you didn't think that changing your relationship with food or yourself and your body was something that maybe you really don't feel like you need to work on that much, there will be something here that you can apply to any part of your life. So that's the beauty of coaching. You can get coaching by proxy just by listening in. All right, so let me grab a drink. What I like to do at the start of my sessions is just open up with a little bit of a little conversation about maybe a new topic or a new concept that will just get you thinking a little bit, get the wheels turning. So today I want to share a really simple reframe of a thought that could have a big impact on how you approach food and your body. So let me start with asking this. Why do we go on a diet or join a gym? It's usually because we want to change something about ourselves. Now, in and of itself, that's not always that's not a wrong thing, or that's not bad. We all have as a human being, we have the right to decide how we show up in this world physically. But oftentimes we want to make a change to our bodies, and we choose dieting because we believe we need to fix ourselves. We need to change something that's wrong with us. So when we come from that angle, yeah, sometimes we might kind of do it in the name of health and wellness, but underneath it, there's a desire to change our body in some way because we believe it's not good enough as it is, or we're not good enough. And how does that feel? It feels kind of terrible, right? It feels like it's going to be hard. It feels like it's kind of punishing, like you're punishing yourself for being in the body that you live in. It's kind of miserable too, right? All the deprivation, depriving yourself food, doing all these things that you think you have to do. And it feels pretty urgent, like I got to change this as fast as I can. That's where that whole term quick fix comes in. And it always feels like you have to take something away to fix yourself or to change yourself. Whoops. So that just feels terrible. So trying to change yourself because you think you're not good enough, it feels forced too, like it's a chore. Like I said, it feels like something you have to do. So here's the reframe that I think could give you an entirely different perspective. And no, I'm not going to say tell yourself you get to instead of you have to. Well, that's great advice. I think I have one that's a little bit better. I want you to try to shift your focus from changing or fixing yourself simply to caring for yourself. It's because, like I said, changing yourself is rooted in this take something away energy or sacrificing something, which usually looks and feels like deprivation. That's the whole basis of diet. So the restriction and deprivation. When you have to give something up, right? You have to sacrifice something to get something. You give up foods when you go on a diet. You sacrifice your hunger, you sacrifice your time and your mental energy. But when you're taking care of yourself, that comes from a very different mindset, which is what makes it really that much more powerful. So taking care of yourself means that you're compassionately giving yourself what you need. You're adding things to your life that support you, not taking things away. So like for instance, you could be adding permission, giving yourself permission to eat when you're hungry and to stop eating when you've had enough. That's a beautiful, compassionate way to care for yourself. Caring for yourself could also look like, most of the time, you feed yourself nutritious food that really supports your body. And sometimes you eat things you enjoy that may be less nutritious just because you love it. That's also caring for yourself. Caring for yourself could be moving your body for no other reason than it feels good. It doesn't have to be the punishing hour in the gym 5 days a week. It could be a 5-minute get up from your desk, walk around the office, or just step outside and take a lap around the building just to get some fresh air. That's a beautiful way to move your body. It could be something as simple as getting enough sleep and staying hydrated and wearing clothes that you like that actually fit you. It's adding things to your life. It doesn't mean that you'd have to take things away. Caring for yourself doesn't ask your body for anything in return, but it pays you back in spades. So imagine when you're doing some of these things that I just said and you're taking care of your body, how your body's going to respond. Because when you make changes in your life that are in the spirit of taking care of yourself, everything starts to feel a little calmer, a little more peaceful, maybe even a little soothing. So your body will respond when you give it the things that it needs. And you will no longer have a lot of these urges to eat because you're not depriving yourself of food. Like I said, you're giving yourself permission. So when the deprivation is gone, you're not thinking about food all the time. You're not worrying so much about what you look like because you're taking care of yourself. It's a little bit of a snowball effect. It may take some time to start to grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger until that snowball has rolled into something that is completely unstoppable. You're going to be able to function better physically, metabolically, even mentally. You're going to have less of the brain fog. You're going to have less of the worry. Just the brain space is going to be so much more open because you're not going to be thinking about all of these things that you're depriving yourself of, because you're going to give yourself everything you need. So, but most importantly, I think what happens is when you start to take care of yourself and that snowball gets really big, you become happier. You're just happier when you're actually taking care of yourself and satisfying all of your needs. So I hope you really think about that, because there is a big difference in trying to change yourself or fix yourself and forcing it, and just taking care of yourself in a compassionate, loving way. All right, let's see what we have for questions. All right. Okay, first question is, how can I shift my mindset from changing myself to caring for myself? Yeah, it really begins with a sense of willingness to recognize that, first of all, you don't have to change anything. You're good enough just as you are. But like I said, change is always an option. But we want to look at it from the perspective of caring for yourselves. It starts with compassion, being really compassionate with yourself, and stop beating yourself up because of maybe your weight or your size or what you look like. And then instead, give yourself what you need. Give it the nourishing food. Give it movement that feels good. Give it enough sleep. And this is all self-care. This is all self-care practices. And when you approach from a place of care, you're going to experience a more positive shift in the perspective. Because right now, if you're very much in that place of I need to fix myself, it may seem like a huge leap forward to getting to I care for myself. So that's why it starts with those little things. Go to bed 15 minutes earlier. Just give yourself a little more sleep. Tiny, tiny steps. Maybe incorporate vegetables into one meal. One meal today. That's just a nice way to start caring for your body. It doesn't have to be a fell swoop, change everything in your life kind of movement to care for yourself. It can be tiny, tiny baby steps because those steps add up, kind of like compounding interest, except not in the bad way that we think about it with our money. Think about it as compounding interest in caring for yourself. Every little step compounds and compounds until you've really got some nice momentum and you really feel the effects of it. Let's see, what else do we have? This is a good one. How do I overcome the feelings of deprivation when I'm caring for myself? So remember, the feeling of deprivation arises when we're taking something away. So whatever actions you choose to start caring for yourself, that's where the reframe comes in. You're not taking something away. Think of it in terms of what are you adding to your life to make it better. So we don't want to perceive caring for ourselves as sacrificing or giving something up. So that's where that real important kind of mindset of self-compassion comes in. And then reminding yourself that caring for yourself means giving yourself what it needs, not taking. And that means physically and mentally. So it means taking a break, from your busy day. You're sitting in front of a computer all day. It could mean just simply closing your eyes, swiveling your chair away from the computer and taking 2 or 3 deep breaths. That's caring for yourself. That's giving yourself something. And then recognizing that it's okay that sometimes you will enjoy these less nutritious foods because you love them. And that caring for yourself doesn't have to ask for anything in return. The rewards, though, are going to be countless in so many ways. So again, small baby steps, think of it as adding things to your life that improve your life and versus taking things away and feeling deprived. All right, let me grab a drink. Oh, this is a great question. How can I make caring for myself a consistent practice? Yeah, consistency in self-care is really important. And it comes from making it a priority and then integrating it into your daily life. Kind of like I was just talking about with those small steps. We're not looking for broad changes across everything and doing it all at once. That usually always results in failure. So making the self-care a priority and integrating it in small steps is the big, big difference when you're thinking about making some changes. Start again with small, manageable things that you can take care of or that you can do every day to take care of yourself. Smallest of things. I know it feels like it's not going to make a difference, but I promise you, just keep thinking about that snowball. It will work. Things like, incorporating some nutritious meals into your routine, and then maybe scheduling, just putting it on your calendar, a 5 or 10-minute space away from your desk. If you work from home, step outside, just breathe in the air. If you don't quite have that luxury because you're in an office, walk away from your computer, just change your environment for a few minutes and move your body a little bit, and it makes a world of difference. Again, small, tiny things. And this is really super important. Consistency does not mean perfection. You have to be kind to yourself. If you, let's say, if you scheduled, a walk every day and you miss a day, or you slip up and maybe you just have a really rough time and you find yourself in the drive-through, instead of beating yourself up, just be compassionate with yourself. You're human. And missing a day on a consistent activity that you've put in place isn't a big deal if you just recommit and get back in it, get back in the game. You're not starting over or all that stuff. You're just getting back into the habit of caring for yourself. It's going to happen. We're human. We can't control so many things in our world, but we can control how we talk to ourselves and how we treat ourselves, which is also taking care of ourselves. Let's see. Uh, Here's a good one. How do I deal with the pressure to change my body that I feel that comes from society? I think this person's talking, I know this person's talking about diet culture. So yes, our society is very much wrapped up in a particular body size as the size of that's acceptable. And it does impose a lot of really unrealistic standards and pressures when it comes to body image. But caring for yourself is not conforming to societal ideas. That's when we start getting into the fix yourself, change yourself thinking. Caring for yourself, it's about honoring your needs, your well-being, what you need for you, not what society thinks you need or what diet culture thinks you need. It's what you think you need. So I know it's hard to get away from. It's so prevalent, but it's really important to pay attention to what you're looking at, what you're putting eyeball time on, and really prioritize taking that time down, surrounding yourself with more positive influences. Um, Go through your social media feed. Seriously, this is could be a huge step in caring for yourself. And if you're following things or people or groups that make you feel a little bit less than, or make you feel like they're imposing some type of a standard on you, like you'd said, get rid of them, unfollow, block, do whatever you got to do. Stop putting the energy and the eyeball time on that stuff. It's really super important and can make a huge difference because we absorb everything that we see and hear. Our brain takes it all in. And if we're truly working towards caring for ourselves, we don't want to continually have those things that remind us that because we may be a certain size or we look a certain way, that we don't quite fit in. Because that's not true, first of all. But we certainly don't need a feed full of that nonsense and that garbage looking at you every single day. So clean it up, get it out of there, and find people that are thinking in the same way that you are, that are really promoting self-care and really promoting this idea of taking care of yourself, whatever that looks like for you. So ultimately, your well-being should always be prioritized over these external expectations that society puts on us. I know, easier said than done, but these little practices like cleaning up your social media can make all the difference. All right, let me see what we've got over there. Let's see. Oh, I love this one. Can caring for myself help me with my health and fitness goals? Absolutely, 100%. Think of caring for yourself as kind of a holistic approach to your health and wellness. And again, health and wellness can be a tricky phrase, another one that has these kind of societal expectations wrapped around it. I'll say, like, especially the word wellness, we've kind of it's a little sad to me to see that wellness culture is blending very quickly into this whole diet culture thing. Like there's this acceptable version of a well person. So just be a little careful with that. And if you get that sense that that's what's coming your way, clean that up. But anyway, yes, it is absolutely possible, because when you take this holistic approach to your health and wellness, when you prioritize self-care, it starts to naturally align with your overall well-being goals. It really does. It's part of like your body self-regulating. So when you nourish your body with good nourishing foods, and you engage in some like really enjoyable movement, something you love to do. I love yoga. Now, I am not by any means a yogi, and I certainly don't do some of those really tricky poses that you see, but I love how it makes my body feel. And even if it's just a 5-minute chair yoga session in the middle of the day, that's joyful movement for me. That's caring for myself. Find things like that. And then when you prioritize things like your rest, like getting enough sleep, you start to create this foundation for optimal health. And when your body starts physically and metabolically functioning in a way that it was meant to, with more stable blood sugar levels, and your hormones are all working well together because you are feeding it more nutritious food. You're giving it protein and healthy fats, and you're giving it carbohydrates, and you're not restricting all the food. Your body responds, and boy, does it respond in a big way. I can't even put words to it to tell you what it feels like when your body is performing physically and metabolically at normal, in quotes, levels. It's just an entirely different feeling. Everything feels easier. There's such a sense of calm. So yes, when you do this work of caring for yourself, you start to inch towards this alignment with the things that you're doing, with caring for yourself and how your body responds. Let's see. And the other good thing about it, before I jump to the next question, when you really do kind of get into this mindset of self-compassion and self-care and caring for yourself, what tends to come along also is you start making different decisions. You start making some real sustainable changes, and overcoming these obstacles along your wellness journey suddenly don't feel as hard because you're not feeling forced anymore, because you're really doing it from a place of, this is good for me. Hope that makes sense. Let's see what we've got in the there. Okay, good there. Let's see. How can I stay motivated to care for myself when life gets busy or stressful? Whew, such a good question, because we are all busy and we are all stressed, and I don't have the answer to that. I wish I could figure that out, because I would love to learn how to live my life without being busy. So anyways, but busy is not a bad thing. What happens though, it is important, again, to prioritize, but making it challenging because your life is busy and stressful makes it worse, or thinking that it's challenging. It's still a matter of prioritization and finding these little tiny moments, just small moments. That's the crucial part to caring for yourself. And the other piece of it is recognizing that it is not selfish. It is not selfish to take time, even if it's those 5-10 minute blocks, or heck, even if it's a half an hour. It doesn't matter how long the time frame is. That time that you take to take care of yourself is not selfish. It's necessary for your overall well-being. So if your goal is to increase the level of care that you give yourself, self-care is necessary. So you can consider it like as an essential part of managing your stress and maintaining balance. That's the really important part. Finding these different strategies that'll work for you, like maybe setting some realistic boundaries for yourself, practicing some time management skills. I know that sounds like really kind of boring, but it's important to be able to block out time and then hold yourself to that promise of using that time for self-care. And then remember, even just a few minutes of self-care can make a significant difference in how you feel. Let's see. Oh, a good question about feeling guilty. Oh, this is so common. This person is asking, what if I feel guilty when I indulge in less nutritious foods while I'm trying to care for myself? This is a great one. Okay. This is, I said it a little bit ago, and I want to repeat it because I really believe this. There is no perfectionism in taking care of yourself. There is none. It's impossible. We'll grab a drink. So Feeling guilty around your food choices is common. I totally understand it. But you need to remember that caring for yourself, again, it's not about perfectionism, it's about finding the balance and the enjoyment. Allowing yourself to enjoy some foods that you really like that may be a little less nutritious some of the time is perfectly fine. There's no judgment there. And what's always really helped me, because truthfully, I struggled with this a lot. And it's not like it's magically gone. It still comes back, even for me who's done this work for so long, that I'll occasionally feel a little guilt about something. Just the other night, I decided, very odd for me, not because for any reason other than I typically just am not hungry at night, but I sat down with a bowl of ice cream. And I did. I started to feel that guilt. But then I had to remind myself that, well, wait a minute. Most of the time, I am feeding my body very nutritious foods. And sometimes it is okay just to have a little ice cream. And that kind of brought the temperature down, and kind of that guilt kind of got pushed aside a little bit. And I was fine and I enjoyed my ice cream. So it's really, if that helps you, keep that one in mind most of the time and some of the time. We don't live in perfection land anymore. All right. So along with that is kind of continuing to kind of cultivate a bit of a non-diet mentality where there's no food is off limits, but rather food is just part of your overall self-care and well-being. It really is just one small piece of it. So when you can start to let go of the guilt and embrace like true nourishment and the pleasure that food can provide, you've hit the pinnacle of self-care. Because again, remember, we're not taking things away when we're practicing caring for ourselves. We're adding things to our lives. And sometimes a little bowl of ice cream is going to add so much pleasure to your life. So there is nothing wrong with that. So I hope that helped a little bit, but it's a practice and I understand that. And that feeling of guilt is probably pretty deeply rooted based on a whole bunch of diet rules, but that's a conversation for another day. But just keep that one sentence in mind most of the time and some of the time. No more black and white, no more perfectionism. All right, 2 minutes. I can get one more question in. Let's see what we have. Kind of similar to the last one, but I think this is maybe a little nuanced of a difference. How do I incorporate self-care into my busy schedule without feeling overwhelmed? You know what? Overwhelm, I think, is one of the most useless emotions that we so often indulge in as humans. Totally normal that we do it. But boy, it doesn't really pay us back in any way, shape, or form to walk around in a state of overwhelm. So in terms of self-care, though, again, it might be a little challenging sometimes, but it's not impossible. It's those small pockets of time throughout your day or your week or wherever, so that you can take to really give yourself the time to do these little activities. Like I said, it could be as simple as just taking a few deep breaths. I just like turn my back right from my computer, turn backwards in my chair, and I have a look at that picture on the wall behind me and just take in deep breaths. And I feel 10 times better almost instantly. Little tiny steps, little tiny things, a short walk, put on a meditation app on your phone for 2 minutes, just 2 minutes could make all the difference. But try to keep yourself out of overwhelm. Thinking about self-care as one more thing you have to add to your day is going to make it feel hard. You're not going to do it. You're just not. The easiest things to ditch and get rid of is usually self-care, because we tend to deprioritize it. Prioritize it and put it at the top of the list, and it will get done. You just have to make those small little increments of time to do it. Excuse me. Oh, allergies. I just had a terrible sneezing fit. Oh my goodness. All right, we are at the bottom of our time together. So let me wrap this up for you. Thank you for listening, whether you're here live or you're catching it on replay. I'm so grateful that you're here, and I invite you to keep coming back. I'm here with my Let's Coach session every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. You can go to lifecoachuniversity.com and just scroll right from the homepage, and you'll see all of the other Let's Coach coaches and the big orange or yellow button to click to join their Let's Talk sessions. We have a schedule also on that site, so you can see who's coaching and when. We have somebody up just about every day, and this is a fantastic form of self-care, giving yourself 30 minutes to jump into a coaching session and just take it all in. Because like I said, there's going to be something in everybody's session that you can apply to your life. All right. I hope you guys have a beautiful weekend, and I will see you next Friday. Have a good one. Bye-bye.